And we're back with Truth Unrestricted, the podcast that is what are we doing today? Why do I switch it up? Why don't I just use the same one every time? I ask myself that sometimes, and turns out that I never get an answer that's satisfactory, and neither will you today. So this is Truth Unrestricted, the podcast that is creating and interpreting the language of the disinformation age. Today it is, and probably next time too. I'm Spencer, your host, and I'm back again today with Patrick. Patrick, how you doing?
Good, Spencer. Hello, how are you?
Good. We have Spider-Man. He's producing
Oh, yeah.
drunkenly. Uh,
Perched there watchfully.
yep. And yeah, I want to talk about. We're going to talk about an old TV show from Britain that almost no one has seen. It's going to be so much fun. Everyone will be riveted. This is exactly what everyone showed up here for. But first, I do have some housekeeping, Patrick.
I'm
So,
ready.
uh, some time ago, several episodes at least, I was talking about the fact that I was getting some unsolicited emails about someone. I suspected they were all from like the same source, but they had like different email addresses that were being sent from, and they all claimed to be like, authors of self-published books and this sort of thing. And they all appeared to be written by some kind of chatbot style language model program, and I didn't respond to any of them. And at the time, I was talking about getting some real correspondence, some real feedback from actual real people. And I mentioned that I get all these emails that are just like from nobody. Um, and the housekeeping, the update on that is that shortly after I mentioned it on the podcast, I stopped getting them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so the pattern was I would get one, like, someone would, self-publish book X, and I would get someone that's supposedly, maybe from that author, or like a person that's speaking for that author or something. And then like 4 or 5 days later, I'd get a follow-up email, just in case you missed this in your busy inbox, just following up on this. And
Hmm.
this was the pattern. Like every week would be another one, and then a follow-up email about it, and next week would be another one, a follow-up email about it. And it had been happening for months,
Sorry,
maybe
Spencer.
even
What
as
what were
many as
they
six
asking?
months.
Were they proposing
They're
something or
proposing that I have them as guests on the podcast.
right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost always like, we think this would be a great guest for your podcast. And they sometimes they would even throw in a little snippet of a phrase that I had used in the most recent episode, as though to show that they're really listening to this podcast and they know the content I do, and that they therefore know that the content of this other thing is going to fit well with this. The few that I looked into told me that for sure none of them were going to fit. They were almost all in the what I call the unreal idea space, pushing ideas that are mostly conspiratorial in nature. And that's why I never responded to any of them. I never bothered to do that. But shortly after I mentioned on the podcast, they just stopped coming to my inbox.
Hmm.
Someone is reacting to the things I say into this microphone, Patrick. That's exciting news. That's really exciting news.
No doubt.
You don't sound as excited about it as I do, but that's really exciting news. I was hoping for feedback, and I didn't get the kind of feedback I wanted, but I got something. Someone out there is reacting to this. It's amazing.
It could be. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me is that they weren't reading the room of no response, and maybe they were earnestly just asking because it hadn't occurred to them that it wasn't going to be a fit. But I guess I'm curious because, like, I think in your role, I would be semi tempted to just like make it as if it was happening just to see like what they had to say, and this is like no commitment to air it,
Like
right?
a
And just get
like
them in front of the microphone. Who the fuck are you, right? Like
like a fake job interview kind of thing.
maybe
I
yeah.
I heard a story about a guy this was a person that a person I knew. So only 1 degree of separation, but still maybe apocryphal. But I heard a story about a guy who, like, on the weekends would put in like an ad in the paper or in Kijiji or whatever for some kind of a job that didn't exist. And then when people would contact him about it, he would do an interview in like a coffee shop or something. And then he'd say he's going to get back to them and never get back to them because there is no job, and just do job interviews in his spare time,
Wow.
just
Wow.
to to have a
Make
story
up a
about.
job that doesn't exist too, right? Like,
Well, I don't know
see
enough
who
about it.
shows up for that.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what kind of job it was. I don't know, but yeah, I that was mind-boggling. I wanted to like talk to this guy and be like, who the fuck are you? Why do you do
Yeah.
this weird thing? Yeah, but
Well, you
I
just start
didn't.
applying for every job you can until
If
you
I
get
had a
him
lot
to
more
respond.
time in my day to fill, I might have done that. I might have
Yeah, yeah.
contacted one and say, "Hey, you know,
Just thinking, how would you track someone like that down so that
I don't know." But I stopped getting the emails. I don't have to worry about doing that anymore. But yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, let's get back to the actual thing that we are here to talk about, Patrick. So,
All right.
there was once upon a time, nearly 60 full years ago, a TV show that aired in Britain, and it was called The Prisoner. So I have been slowly putting the screws to you, like very soft, gentle screws, but screws nonetheless, putting the screws
Yes.
to you to get you to start watching this, and you have begun.
Yes.
I'm so happy. Um, so you've watched 2 episodes so far, as I understand. Is that right?
Uh no, I've watched 3. I watched episodes
Three.
1, 2, and 4.
Oh, you okay? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have the very barest gist of what's happening here, and that's really what we're going to talk about is kind of the gist, just the premise today.
Mhm.
But the premise already is so interesting about this show. What are you doing?
Oh no! Oh no! There's an attack! Oh, I've said too much. I have to go. Little prop humor.
Yeah,
I'm
good. No,
making a
that's
joke
good.
about the show for anyone who's listening to the audio. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah. There's part of the premise is a thing that's a large white balloon that uh, acts sort of as a mindless, faceless sheriff. If things get out of control, this thing comes at you.
Mhm.
Um, but the premise of this is heavily reliant on a couple things that were happening. So, I mean, obviously, spy fiction in general feeds into this, and so people who weren't paying any attention to like spy fiction at all or anything like that would maybe find this show maybe a little less interesting, maybe. Um, but a surprising number of people have found this show very, very interesting, including a lot of like psychologists and everything else. Um, so obviously, I think that I have to tell a little bit about a show called Danger Man in order to tell this story. So the main character and the guy that actually created this show and wrote most of the episodes of this show is a guy called Patrick McGowan. You and I probably know Patrick McGowan best by the fact that he was Edward Longshanks, King Edward Longshanks in Braveheart.
Mm.
That character, sort of ostensibly the biggest villain to William Wallace in Braveheart. Um, but he was a big star in Britain in the 60s, really big star. Even in the 50s, I think he was already a big star. And in from 1960 to 1966, he was in a TV show called Danger Man. Now, in Danger Man, he had a name. I don't remember what the name is. It was something like, I don't know, John Smith or some ordinary kind of name, like a spy kind of name.
Okay.
Um, And in Danger Man, he did spy things. It was like a bold-faced ripoff of of uh, um, James Bond, right?
All right.
So the first James Bond movie doesn't come out till 1963, but the books were released beginning in 1953, and they were very popular, which led to the movies. But in 1960, some enterprising producer in Britain decides he's going to make a TV show that's based on a spy that does stuff very much like James Bond, and he's relatively young. He's attractive. He gets with the ladies. He beats up the bad guys. He gets the information, and then he's done. And that's every episode, pretty much. I did watch it several years ago. I downloaded and watched it, but it's just whatever. It's not that interesting, really. But Danger Man gets done, and then Patrick McGoohan needs a job, so he comes up with this show, The Prisoner. So for a lot of people, The Prisoner is a spin-off of Danger Man, because to a lot of people, he is playing the same character he was playing in Danger Man, like a spy, man of mystery kind of thing, but he's in a totally different world.
Well, that makes some of what I've encountered already, like the continuing theme of why did you
Yeah.
resign? It's like resign
Yes.
from what? You see this
Right.
kind of
There's a whole talk about a resignation and
yeah,
everything else. And to people who were paying a lot of attention to television in the 1960s in Britain, which is, I've already said a lot of things, it's a very narrow market of worldwide, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
to those people in 1967, this show comes on and it's instantly recognizable because he's a very big star. They recognize him. He was a spy. He's still a spy. He resigned. Okay, this is
Mhm.
almost like a continuation kind of thing. And to a lot of people, that's what this was. A spin-off of the Danger Man show. But according to, like, in the premise of this, and it's not just a fact that it's not really a spin-off and he doesn't have like permission to use the property, the intellectual property of Danger Man. A very specific part of the premise of this show is that he has no name. He has no name at all. He's
Like he
nameless.
never produces a name. He says he has a name, doesn't he? He's like, I have a name, but we don't hear it. He never
he
says what the
he
name is.
doesn't, to my knowledge, and I can watch them all again and see, but I don't think he ever even claims that he has a name.
Or maybe he
What
says
he
I'm not a number.
That's right. He says, I'm not a number. It's
Right.
very specific.
Okay.
Right. So actually, I think right now, I think I'd like to play the opening credits of what would be episode 2, actually.
All right.
So we're gonna do that now. Just a moment, because of some things that happened before the show. I don't have this ready anymore, but I do now, and we're going to show it now. Very dangerous. Starts with thunder. He's driving a fast British sports car. He's in London. It's
He's already snaking into some
he's driving very quickly. That shows that he's dangerous.
yeah.
He's going to walk very purposefully down a hallway with a stern look on his face. It's fun. I've seen this at least 200 times. He goes into an office. He's very angry. He walks back and forth. He puts an envelope on the desk. He smashes it. He drives away. There's a folder for resigned. This part I found interesting. So
The Roman numerals?
well, no, as he's driving away, this is a machine that's doing this, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Very Amazon factory of today, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
and then he's being followed. We saw that car a couple other times as he's driving.
They are blatant.
It's a big black car, and from it
He's
comes
packing.
a man dressed in black with a tall hat, and he puts some sleeping gas into the room, and our hero falls asleep.
His
And the
last
theme
visions
song
of the
is
skyscrapers.
over. Yeah.
Uh,
And thus starts the speaking part of the opening credits. How come it stopped? There we go. All right.
he wakes up disoriented.
So he's not in London anymore.
Where am I? In the village. What do you want? Information. Whose side are you on? That would be telling. We want information. 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 You won't get it. By hook or by crook. We will. Who are you? The new number 2. Who is number 1? You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
Okay. So that there's so much there, especially during the speaking portion. I have it here. I wrote down a little transcript of it. So in this dialogue, it's essentially like an interrogation. Only it's the prisoner that's interrogating the ostensibly the person that has imprisoned him. But the answers are often not direct answers. Sometimes they're not answers at all. Certainly not the answers to the question that was asked. And it speaks of a power imbalance and also of misdirection, of the fact that maybe this person, the prisoner, is not gonna get what they want. So a couple points of it I want to point out is that he asks, "Who are you?" At one point, the prisoner asks, "Who are you?" And the answer is the new number 2. And in response, number 6 asks, "Who is number 1?" This sort of implication being then that the number you're assigned is related to some level of importance. So if there's a number 2, number 1 must be more important than number 2. But he doesn't get an answer to who is number 1. The answer is, you are number 6. And that's when we get the response, which is sort of the one that everyone remembers a lot, which is, I am not a number, I'm a free man. Which, it's not explicit, but it's implying that the process of making him a number makes him less free, which I think was a sort of a one of these anxieties that we were feeling as a society in the 60s, was that things were less personal because we were all just a number to someone. You get a driver's license number, and you get a health insurance number, and social insurance number, all these numbers. These are the things that define your life more so than any personal thing about you. Which I think is interesting, because I've read a bunch of obituaries in my life, and none of them listed any of these numbers. They all listed the personal things about those people that were relevant, right? So I don't know. I think this is more of a fear that's maybe unwarranted. I don't know. Maybe we get over this fear at some point.
They hide the numbers for special occasions.
They hide the numbers for special occasions, do they? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They leave it out of birthdays and obituaries and stuff like that. But the day-to-day, you think about how many times are you regarded as a number in a day? How many times are you regarded as a number? And it's
To me
probably,
personally, none.
oh, you are though. Like every time
But
you access a cell network,
by
they're not
other
like, this is
people
Spencer Watson.
outside
This
of
is
my direct view, yeah, sure, yeah. I have a couple of numbers that are related to my phone. There's a series of numbers that are associated with my access to the internet that
Mhm,
I
mhm.
don't need to see or bother to know about.
Basically all the
Uh,
memberships. Yeah, all the little touch points are numeric
yeah,
relations at some
sure.
level of reporting. So,
Do you know why though?
well, that's machinery.
It's because by the use of numbers, we can be certain that each person is unique.
Hmm. Yeah,
So the idea that is often put forth about this number thing is that it makes us all the same.
by
But we
being
use the
reduced to
numbers
that. Yeah.
because that's the only way we can be sure that we're uniquely identifying each individual person.
And no one ever
It's
thinks,
some
oh, they're
really
reducing
deep
us to
irony there
letters.
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like we use the numbers because that's the only way we can be sure each person is an individual. But
Yeah.
in doing so, we make everyone feel like none of them are actually individuals.
But it's kind of like when you look at databases, the primary key is a number, right? Like the
Yeah,
first
sure.
identifier, just because of that guarantee of uniqueness.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's how we're
I
sure
want my
that it's unique.
primary key to be a free man.
If we were much better at shapes and art in general,
Mhm.
we could develop a system whereby we don't even need numbers at all, really. They're just a sort of a passing part of our life, if we ever develop them at all, because
Hmm.
we could think about a schematic. You could transmit a schematic without any numbers on it. You just show the scale and the shapes. And if our brains were good enough at looking at that and understanding the shapes, we wouldn't need any numbers on there to build a complicated machine. We could
If we
just
can start reading
build it.
QR codes by eye,
Uh, well, yeah, but that represents a number.
I suppose.
In the case of a
Yeah.
schematic, we have a number, and we have a bunch of numbers that represent parts of shapes. In a
Like,
QR code, we have the opposite. We have a shape that represents a number.
there's got to be like, well, I mean, you can assign a coordinate system to a schematic.
Yeah, series of numbers, right?
Hmm.
Anyway,
At any rate,
it was a big deal in this to have everyone referred to as numbers, and never is he given a name.
Mhm.
Never.
Never does he
Uh,
claim one.
nor ever does he claim one or attempt to correct anyone about
Yeah.
this, which is also like this thing about the aspect of this. So um in the premise of The Prisoner, we can see, like, I don't think Patrick McGoohan was thinking about what would eventually be a conspiratorial person that goes way deep down a rabbit hole and thinks of the world as a just ruled by an Illuminati sort of a thing. But in understanding his number 6 character, we can see a microcosm of what someone's world is like, or what their reality is like when they are in that space, in understanding the main character's life in the village.
Mhm.
Because the village, everything is some level of fake, but it's expected that everyone treat it as real,
Mhm.
which is very much how the deeply conspiratorial view the world. It has a very it's just a village, and it has an outer limit, but he's never allowed to leave it, which is a clear sign that he's trapped.
Mhm.
um, that part is kind of gone over fairly heavy in a relatively heavy-handed way in the first episode. It doesn't come up in every episode after that, but another interesting aspect of the premise of this show is that as we went through here, when he asks who is he's talking to, they say they're the new number 2. I don't think
Right.
they all say the new number 2, but this one in particular said the new number 2. And this is telling because it's a different person as number 2 each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is different every time. So this reveals like this idea that it doesn't matter who's in charge. The system is what's trapping the prisoner, right? And it doesn't matter who's in charge. So this calls up this idea that many of the conspiratorial people have, which is it doesn't matter who wins the election. It's they're perhaps said that the leader is selected rather than elected, right? Or perhaps that if there's 2 political parties, that both sides of the political spectrum are just 2 wings of the same bird. That's another phrase that's used often as a metaphor for what's happening. Very visual, but I don't think it's true. But this would certainly be true in the world of the prisoner in his village, right? Everyone in the village ostensibly is also a prisoner with the prisoner. It's sort of in the opening episode and in a couple other episodes, there are direct conversations with people who are prisoners with our main character and refer to themselves and the refer openly to the fact that they are there against their will and they'd like to escape. But most of them do not actually, which is interesting. I mean, if you think of a conspiratorial person's worldview, they think that a lot of other people probably understand that this whole world is a farce, but they just won't bother to say it because it's easier to just say that it's not so that you can get along, right? And that's true in the prisoner's world in the village. Also in a few episodes, there are people who reveal themselves who appear to be also prisoners with the real prisoner, but who are in fact working with the people that are imprisoning the people, right?
Well, see, that's been my feeling about all of them. They all feel like staff playing roles because none of them are exhibiting any sort of lean towards freedom, right? Only insofar as that he needs people to talk to, right? So that, I want to deal with freedom. It's just like, this is, I feel like he's the only guest at the resort.
In his world, as soon as he comes to realize that not everyone is honestly a prisoner, this immediately tells him and breaks down the sense of trust he might have with the other people in the village, because he wouldn't know who to trust. And that's going to come up in so I should have said earlier, but we're going to do a few episodes of this series. We're not going to do the whole thing. That would take way too long. And this isn't a prisoner recap podcast. We're going to do a few episodes. Yeah. This is what we are now. We're in the village. Yeah. But one of the episodes we cover is going to deal with that as its main focus. Is this idea of not knowing who to trust. So there's a couple other common elements in addition to the fact that it's a different person as number 2 in each episode. So one thing that's true in the village, and it's not true in like most villages in England, is that there is a public address system, and it is used in the series. It's used as part of the storytelling to take the place of a narrator, for one thing.
Okay.
But it's the way it's done is that it's also part of the village, in that this is ostensibly like a radio that you don't get to turn off. They can play anything they like at you. They can tell you anything via the address system.
Mm-hmm.
And this gives it this sort of like fascist feel, that there's a bureaucratic entity in charge, and they choose what is said on the public address system, and you're not in that group. So I have another clip, and I'd like to play it. It's from the same episode I grabbed the opening credits from. By the way, I wanted to mention that the opening credits take a full 3 minutes to play.
I know.
Like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
He must have loved the opening credits, right? Because
yeah.
yeah, I mean, most shows would not want their opening credits to take that long, but I also suspect that I mean, in the documentaries about this series, friggin' Patrick McGoohan was like not getting any sleep. He was doing everything. Like, he was writing all the episodes, he was directing a lot of the episodes, he was producing, he was doing everything for this damn show. And so I think that he was sort of padding the opening credits so that they could take up some time, so that would be less of the time that he'd have to write material for the show.
The old
Which I think
filler.
yeah. You know, you do a presentation and it has to be so long, so you're gonna add a lot of pictures, a lot of figures, a lot of graphs, right?
Yeah.
10 pages, okay, well, 4 of them easily could be just graphs, right? Easily. So we're gonna play this. It's just it occurs in the episode. It occurs immediately after the opening credits. So let's get this back up.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And what a lovely day it is. Rise and shine, rise and shine. Before our program of early morning music, here are 2 announcements. The long-range weather forecast is that the fine spell will continue for at least another month. Your local council, and remember it is your local council, democratically elected by you, has decided to organize a great new competition. Can you paint? Can you draw? Can you model in clay? If you can, then your day is just 6 weeks today. More about this later, but now, music.
So, yeah. Think about those announcements for a second here. There's a local council. And remember, it's your local council elected by you. And they've arranged for an art contest. So you're a super spy trapped in a village that you can't escape from. There's a number 2 that is doing various things every episode, ostensibly trying to get information from you about your spy world.
Yeah.
And there's a local council that's elected by you to do what? They don't have the power to help you escape, but they do have the power to organize an art competition. So this is a sort of a, from the conspiratorial mindset view of the world, this is the world, that you might elect a mayor to your town, and the mayor of that town is never going to, help you to understand the Illuminati, but they will organize, some things to distract you from the Illuminati by, there might be there's going to be a mural downtown, and there's going to be we're going to have a project to spruce up some of the sidewalks, and there's going to be some things happening in this town. Everything's going to get better around here. Things will get more interesting. But none of that really helps you to defeat the Illuminati, right? That's just fluff. That's just distraction. That's never going to let you escape the village. I thought that was an interesting view of the announcements. And of course, in this way, they're also doubling as a narrator, because now there doesn't have to be a narrator's voice that tells us that, yes, the prisoner is going to get ready for an art competition or whatever, right? Like it's not needed, right? Because the announcements told us. So, how am I doing so far? Am I making sense? Am I off track? What's in your head, Patrick, about this?
No, this is a pretty good explanation of the show. Its general premise.
Yeah. The PA system comes up several times in the series. I think it is in every episode. There's at least something that comes through there. In the form of like I said, like some kind of narrator kind of thing, a storytelling device.
Number 2 is actually like just talking to him through it for everybody.
I think sometimes there are conversations. There are some times where cheekily, I think number 6 even leans over and says some things to the microphone of the PA system to like tell them things that he knows they're listening to, that sort of thing. It gets interesting, but before we are done the episode, I'd like to go over the episodes that we're going to take a look at and list them off, just in case someone wants to go ahead. I'm pretty sure that for anyone who is interested in like streaming platforms, all of these episodes I'm pretty sure are available on BritBox. Some people do that kind of thing. So these episodes, I had them up right here. I had them ready. Yeah. So we're going to look at one called Free for All. Was that the one you skipped, by the way?
I think if that was number 3. Yeah, Free for All.
Yeah. So in the list I have, the opening episode, pardon me, the opening episode is called Arrival, and it's listed as episode 0. But Free for All is going to be the first one that we're going to look at. It's about democracy. We're going to look at an episode called Checkmate. That's very, very interesting. And we're going to look at one called It's Your Funeral. That's also got some very interesting content. And then we're going to look at the final 2 episodes. We're going to do one episode about the final 2 episodes.
All right.
Because they're the only 2 episodes that go together. They're like a 2-parter, and they close out the series.
Okay.
So as a wrap up, we're going to do that one. But just in case, I'll put it out there. If anyone happens to be a big fan of The Prisoner, maybe I have someone who's listening who is wanting to sell me on the idea of many people they know being on the podcast, and they stopped sending those messages because they thought I didn't like them, but they really like The Prisoner, and they have some other favorite episode in mind they'd like me to also wedge in here sideways or whatever. Send that along. Maybe that'll be fun. If it's one I like. There's other episodes I like. I don't want this to be, I didn't pick on 10 episodes or anything, because I want to keep it fairly brief, but it's still 5, this one and like 4 others.
Yeah, this
So
isn't Prisoner Unrestricted.
no, that's not, no. And we're not even doing that as a side podcast. No,
No.
that's a no on that. Negatory. Yeah. So with that, we'll wrap up. We don't have to be here all day. Patrick, you've watched just a couple episodes. What do you think so far of The Prisoner? Is it weird enough for you?
Yeah. Yeah. it's
Yeah.
it's I mean, it keeps you guessing. I don't
Oh,
find
yeah.
I don't find the storyline is like alienating me or anything, but there is a bit, just because of where we are now, looking this far back in the past, there's a bit of it that just is comical because of how
Yeah.
serious it was at the time, right? And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's fun.
It takes some things, you know, it was 1967. It was a long time ago. Almost 60 years. But yeah, the episodes are not repetitive. That's 100% for sure. They're all unique. There's
Mhm.
no two episodes that are very similar where you get lost and you get confused between them. Nothing like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll sign off here. So do you have any closing messages, Patrick?
No,
You
just
good? No?
thanks for having
You
me
good?
on.
Yeah. All right.
Until next time.
Yeah. Till next time. Please remember to rate this podcast as often as possible to increase its reach. Due to the fact that rating algorithms are so incredibly rigged, only 5-star ratings are worth anything. All other numbers might as well be 0 stars. If it's not a 5-star rating, I would prefer none at all. Sorry, I didn't build the system. Please subscribe to this podcast to get the latest episodes brought straight to you and recommend it to whomever you think would enjoy it. And special thanks to Jeff Powell for the theme music. I paid for it by listening to him play his old acoustic guitar until the strings broke back in high school. It was worth it.